Hello everybody and welcome to this video of myself and Simon Bates.
Hello.
And we're looking at the Yamaha YAS 480, which is the latest iterant of this 4 series from Yamaha. So just a tiny bit maybe about where this sits in the range, and then Simon's going to have a blow and we're going to talk through some of the tech specs on it and maybe how it differs from the 280, which is the model below it, and the 62, which is the professional series. So as I've kind of alluded to there, this 480 is in that sort of intermediate, for want of a better word, position. And so what does that mean? Well, perhaps someone who's been on a student saxophone, even maybe not the student Yamaha, who wants to upgrade, but maybe on a slightly tighter budget if you can't quite reach up to the 62, this is still a way to get into that Yamaha build quality and the Yamaha feel and the consistency of sound which you get from Yamaha, but without, as I say, reaching up to the 62.
Or possibly for a flute or clarinet player who wants to do a bit of doubling, already earning a living in the music business.
Yeah, absolutely. Great as a double or treble instrument. Or even if you've been renting one or borrowing one from the school, whatever it might be, but you need to get your own and you don't want to buy a student one because you want to future-proof yourself a little bit. And there's a couple of spec things which will help with that future-proofing, namely the octave mechanism here on the back of the saxophone. This key just protrudes slightly, and that is different to the 280 design. And the idea behind that whole mechanism being different is that you can, in later times, add a custom Yamaha neck to the saxophone, and that would allow you to buy one of the separate necks, which are the pro level custom ones, and add those on. There's a variety of them. We've done a video about the differences on those, and that's a way to actually spec up this 480 later down the line, which you can't do with the 280 because the mechanism doesn't fit together. But before I tell you the full specs and the boring bits, so to speak, maybe let's have a listen, Simon, and see how we feel about how it blows.
It's a lovely instrument, really good.
Yeah, and visually there is a little bit of engraving on the bell, but they haven't gone totally to town on that because that's a very involved process actually. And both Simon and I, we've seen how they do that. It takes hours on the pro models. So just having something here, very simple, just gives it a little bit of an extra visual look. And we know it's always all about the sound, but they do a little bit there just to increase the visibility, like we say. But mechanically, there's a couple of little differences to the 280. There is the neck difference, which I talked about previously. There's also this sort of seesaw action here on the low table keys, which just helps a little bit, doesn't it, if you're moving between.
It makes it a bit more comfortable if you're going from B to C, B flat to C sharp.
Yes, get your teeth in.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can just kind of saddle rock on that as opposed to having to leap keys. So that's quite a neat little... Oh, well demonstrated. And also they separate the key guards here on the B and the B flat to the low C. It just saves a tiny bit of weight around there. And other than that, it's got the standard B to C sharp link, which they put on the 280 though now as well. But often the question is, well, what's the difference between this and the 280? And I think mechanically it's very similar. There's those small improvements I just said, but it's a little bit heavier and the neck's a little more open. And I think, Simon, do you think that just results in something that's just a bit beefier and bigger to play?
And indeed it is, yeah. It's a classier instrument all round. Not to say that we don't like the 280, we do, but, you know, this is good quality. It's a professional instrument,
yeah.
You can tell.
I think that weight, if you get into a big band or something like that, where actually the volume goes up everywhere and you start playing with more experienced players, you know what it's like, suddenly you need to actually have a bit more presence. And arguably with the 280, although it's an extremely easy blowing instrument, it's designed for people who are just starting. That's the whole point. It's lighter for that reason. Whereas here you're coming to it as someone who can perhaps already blow a bit and put more air through it, and perhaps it'll reward you accordingly. So, Simon, let's just hear a little bit more from this, just to play us out, unless you have any other comments you want to hit.
No, and only to say, to me, it feels like a saxophone that's in a higher price bracket.
Yeah,
you know,
it's really good value for
that. It is a wonderful instrument, yeah.
Cool. Let's hear a little more then.